Yeah.
Hello, Andrew. Hello.
Why can't I get in here? One more. Or you'll show up at 7. What time is it? 59. He'll swing in right on time. Who knows? No one tells us.
Hi, Mike, is everything okay?
Yeah, you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, can you hear? Do you want to try, make sure he can hear you there? Can you make sure he can hear you all right there?
Yeah. Oh.
Hello. So, one thing, it looks like,
We're not quite all here yet.
We're just testing things out there, Mike, so.
okay, it looks like screen sharing is disabled on my end.
All right, let me see if I can admit that. Okay, are you able to do it now?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
We're gonna be sending this to Nancy. Sorry. Sorry.
That's fine.
Oh, that's a beautiful place to be.
Yeah, anyhow.
So you create a little green apple to go by with that for a minute.
Oh, that's awesome. I know we took Daryl. And we only wait 15 minutes, is that the deal? 15?
30.
I don't know if we can keep my foot. I'm just warning you, I'm not.
What it is.
Oh, because she's gone.
Yeah,
She's picked a good time. Tracy's in Costa Rica.
That's just not fair.
Like, I mean, you would hope that they would let us know if they weren't coming. That would be the common courtesy.
I know who my desk.
Is this like for Christmas decoration?
Yeah, that's the.
Oh, I didn't get that from this at
Okay,
all.
we'll deal with that on the. I didn't fill that out. It's judging, I think, right? Yeah, is it? You said judging. I know that. Thanks, sir. I didn't even see it.
Somebody's coming.
How many people I think we had already?
I drove my truck all day and it was not inclined to start now.
You're the man of the hour because you're the forum,
Yeah.
so thank you for coming.
Thank you, truck, for starting.
Well, I was gonna take Ashley's car, but then my stupid brother was watching his kid, and my brother hadn't came and picked up his kid yet, so Ashley had to take him home. So that was it was nonsense.
Happy to see you. Okay, I guess, you ready to go then, Jesse? All right, call the, meeting for community of the whole for December 6th to order at 7:04. First order of business, the agenda, any additions, deletions, or adoptions. I have a couple here, just a couple typos. If you go to page 13, there's a typo there that should be on the executive summary bylaw 2019-16.
That's not an amendment to the agenda, though, that's just an amendment to the bylaw.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, I don't know, do you want to put the other one in there, Donna, the customer service standards policy under the 2.1?
It's already there, we just picked up the one we're rescinding, so I can add that, sir, as a natural.
Okay, so then we're good to go. So
We're good
can I
to
get a
go.
motion to accept the agenda as is?
I can make a motion to accept the agenda as is.
Thank you, Shelley. All in favor? And it's carried. So the first order of business be the, Mike Smith delegation for Silvermist ASD presentation. I'll let you, say, Donna, if you want to speak to that.
Thank you, good evening, Mike, thank you so much for coming. Mike and I know, Theo from Breton, I've had conversations with you. Mike, we talked about you at our CAO meeting, I'm sure your ears were burning. And we appreciate you coming in on Zoom to discuss this Tangible Capital App software that is extremely user-friendly from what we can see, but we want to make sure our public works manager is in here tonight, Andrew Kearley, in the gallery, and of course we want council to take a look. So Mike, the floor is yours, and the mayor will direct any kind of questions from council after this.
Excellent. Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. Normally, I do apologize. I love doing these in person. But it seems December 6th is really popular for a council meeting today. You are my final one for today. I've had 4 so far, which is good. It's keeping me busy. So I'm Mike Rose. I work for Silversmith Data. I'm located in Beaumont, so I'm pretty close to you guys. And we offer asset management, mapping, and maintenance software. I personally have been the manager of the Canadian portion of the company for the last 17 years. We've been in business for 25. Our main business was oil and gas, and we still do that. We do monitoring and data management as well with IoT sensors and whatnot in the oil and gas industry. And it was a no-brainer for us to move into the asset management field about 5 years ago. And since then, our software has really taken off for a number of reasons. Number one that was touched on is user friendliness. We go over very well with the public works staff typically. You know, a lot of places have existing software, but there's not a lot of, I guess, use by the public works department would be the number one thing that we saw. So when we designed this, we actually designed it with feedback from Public Works, just because they're a major portion of the maintenance part of this, obviously. And we want as much integration, as much user involvement as possible when we have a town purchase our software. So if you were to become a customer of Silversmith Data, we would make a map of your town. And if this looks familiar, it's because it's driven by Google Maps. I'm sure everyone's familiar with Google Maps. There's a bunch of different views. So the satellite with street names, without street names, and a graphical user interface that's kind of, you know, nice and cleaned up kind of thing. It makes things a little easier to see sometimes. So with that map created, you would go about populating your map with your assets throughout your town, i.e. fire hydrants, curb stops, manholes, etc. This is all user entered information, all user driven. So we give you the ability to mark your assets. We give you the ability to mark them accurately and very quickly, to be totally honest with you. It takes about a minute or 2 to mark one asset, and it uploads in real time. I'm not sure if I don't recall if you have any existing mapping or GIS software. If you did, we would import that as part of the setup. as well. We would just take all the shape files and information and whatnot and push it right into our system. That's pretty standard upon the industry, and we've done that with quite a few customers that have decided to move on from their current software and embrace our software. So with that being said, if you wanted to see your fire hydrants all throughout your town, you would simply click on the layer system right here. So when you click on that, you can see there's quite a catalog. Now keep in mind, this is the demo server. So basically almost every asset that we have available is listed over here. But for new customers and whatnot, only the stuff that you have marked on your map would populate over here. And you can see it's not only water distribution and whatnot that we cover. I always say, because it's true, we literally cover anything you can think of. If we don't have an asset that you want marked, we will certainly add that for you. And I think the joke's getting old now because I've told it so many times, but I use the example, you know, if you have in the summertime, if you put decorative garden gnomes all throughout your town, we'll make a garden gnome icon and we'll make a maintenance sheet for it. So you can mark them all throughout your town. I mean, that's how flexible we are. That's how, you know, user-friendly we are and customizable we are. And that wouldn't be an extra charge. That would be certainly included. So for example, if we wanted to select fire hydrants, I would click on hydrants. All the hydrants for your town are populated. And even on this screen right now, there's quite a bit of information going on right here. We want to give you as much visual information as possible so you get an idea of what's going on maintenance-wise throughout your town without actually having to dive in on that asset layer there. So you see a bunch of colors here. They're very simple and they're all the same for every asset. It's essentially green means it's great, working order, no issues. Yellow, it's working. Some kind of minor maintenance is required. For hydrant, could be paint. Red, very important, especially for a hydrant, means it's out of service. That's why a lot of towns give access to their fire department, especially if they have a full-time fire chief and whatnot, and that person can check and see the status of the fire hydrants throughout town. God forbid, there's a fire, it's pretty important to know which hydrants are working and whatnot. Now, along with these colors as well, you see these bubbles. These are only specific to fire hydrants. These are your gallons per minute if you had tested when you're out flushing and whatnot. And if you ever need a reminder of what a color means, there's a nice little legend button down in the bottom left corner. You click on that and it shows all the information regarding the colors. And you can see they're all the same. Get rid of that.
Quick question for
go
you.
ahead.
So for your maintenance program, just for example, for your fire hydrant, is this a program that you have designed by an engineer, or where do you get your program from?
Okay, so great question. So in the beginning, when we started developing this software, we literally only started with fire hydrants, and there's a good reason with that. Not like I said before, not only are we a software company, we're an IoT company as well. So Internet of Things, which means various sensors and pressure readings and whatnot that all integrate into this software as well. So we have a sensor that goes on a fire hydrant called Hydro Alert that makes your hydrant smart and detects water so it doesn't freeze in the winter if water is leaking into your dry casing, for example. But where we designed this and where we got the information or questions for the maintenance sheet was literally talking to public works divisions in multiple cities, from the smallest villages to cities with 100+ population that are our current customers. And from that, I guess, integration of these various customers, we designed a maintenance sheet that we feel really covers anything and everything that's required for asset maintenance. But the great thing is, and when I go into this hydrant, you'll see the maintenance sheet. And for any other asset as well, if there's something in that sheet that you feel is not sufficient or you would like added, we add that for you. For example, Ontario, there was a town in Ontario, they wanted chlorine added, testing added to a section. And we just added that right in there so they could keep track of it. I hope that answers your question. I think it was that.
Thank you.
Okay. So like I said before, to see the maintenance sheet, so we see this hydrant right here, number 36 is red. So we want to investigate what's going on there. We simply click on the hydrant and we go to maintenance view. And when we click on maintenance view, now we're diving into, you know, the real information about that asset. So under here is all your asset information. And again, some of these are quite in depth. That's just because, like I said, we have customers with a population of 200 to cities with a population of 150,000. So, you know, some of these bigger cities have a lot more information required, but we always say just fill out as little or as much or as little as pertains to your town or village, right? But we just want to cover it all. One of our next updates that comes out is the ability to make some of these vanish, customize this view right here. So you're not left with a bunch of blank title screens right here. So the asset information would be right here. And then when you scroll down, I'll skip this portion, but this would be the maintenance sheet. And again, where we talk about making it as easy as possible to use, you literally don't type anything in here. It's all point and click. You know, if Public Works is out working on something, their hands are wet or whatnot, they're using it on a tablet. You don't want them having to try to, you know, type stuff with cold hands, wet hands. It's all point and click. You know, if you go out and flush a hydrant right here, hydrant's been flushed, you select yes, you can go on down, hit update. When you hit update, it's logged right here with a date, time stamp, as well as a stamp of who did it, and all your previous records anytime you update that maintenance sheet. So you'll never, you know, have to go through a filing cabinet again to look for something or whatnot to prove that it was maintained or keep track of what you did at that particular site. There's a notes section right here as well. So, you know, notes are great. Pictures are even better. Unlimited pictures, you can see why this one's out of service, gravel buildup, just around the valve access and whatnot. So that's what we use right there to track all of our maintenance and whatnot. That's an example right there of just the fire hydrant maintenance page. Any questions on that?
Jesse has a question.
One question,
Sorry. Let's say, I guess, if some of our fire hydrants are essentially built the same, or they have the same type of components to them, rather than filling out every fire hydrant individually, is it possible for some sections to be copy pasted? Save time? Oh, I think you're muted.
That's a great question. I've actually never been asked that one before, but I get what you're saying. Let me take a note. A lot of that stuff, our engineers and software developers, if you wanted something like that done, they can write a script and push that out so it's done for you kind of thing. But as for like, I understand what you're saying, a copy and paste of all the components are the same. Right now, we don't have something like that. So yeah, I understand. You would have to literally go in there and type that out for every one of these hydrants, right?
that's correct.
Or even if you had something where specific hydrant, like a Canadian valve, like have them all a standard setting and then adjustable once they're in place.
Right.
I think we've got 4 different types of hydrant styles.
So in that case, how many hydrant styles do you have?
We've got 4 different hydrant styles in town.
4. So in that case, our developer could literally make those 4 types of hydrants, and you would select those when you mark the asset.
Yeah.
And then if you did have to change it, it would still have the drop down to change, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So stuff like that, that's fantastic. That sounds like a great feature, and I'm sure that would be useful in other places. So that is something definitely that we could add, and that would save you a load of time if you're like, I don't know how many fire hydrants you have in town, but I imagine it would save you some substantial time if you had those options.
49 hydrants, roughly, 49 to 50 hydrants.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, we could literally make 4 different types of hydrants and you could select those when you're plotting them throughout town, right? That wouldn't be an issue. For sure. Different types. So, and talking about ease of use and getting as much information as possible. So a couple like neat features that we have that, you know, we get requested from some of our customers up in this view button here. So if I scroll down to the hydrant section, a lot of these are predetermined views. So if I wanted to click and say, you know, hydrant has been flushed and just visually see. So all the opaque hydrants right here, these have been flushed for the year and all the solids need to be flushed for the remainder of the year. So you can even keep track real quick of what's left, you know what I mean, to be flushed. I don't know how often you flush, if it's once a year or twice a year, but you know, it's a great way to see, you know, how the progress is being made there. And if you have someone out flushing, it's a good way to see where, you know, how they're making out with flushing that day or that week kind of thing. And that was a request from one of our customers. So moving on from hydrants, another really popular one would be curb boxes. So I don't know what it's like in your town, but a lot of towns don't really know where all their curb boxes are. And they're super hard to find, correct? So definitely having them mapped out is beneficial. Just zooming in gives you a pretty good idea of where the curb box is. And if you click on it, just like the fire hydrant, and you go to maintenance view, again, you know, you get all the asset information, you get a maintenance sheet right here, all the same features as the fire hydrant, notes section and whatnot, pictures, you know, a lot of towns have these. They use this to locate the curb box, or, you know, one of these engineering drawings. A lot of our customers, they're going out, putting a pylon on there, taking a picture in all 4 directions. And that's what a lot of the public works runs into right here. It's you know, it's under, you know, a couple inches of grass kind of thing, or snow. So even with all that, if you still can't find the curb box after that, using our GPS, and I haven't mentioned this yet. So this is the unit we use to mark all the assets. So the GPS with a tablet, with this little tray, so you walk around, literally looks like a remote control for a drone or something, but you literally use that to mark the asset. Super easy to use. It takes about a minute or 2 to mark one. Very accurate. So if you were out looking for this curb box right here with that tablet and that GPS, if you hit that locate button right here, it would show you on the screen, just like you know, a GPS on your phone. It would just show you on the screen, and you could literally walk right over the curb box and know exactly where it is. So no more, you know, I don't know if that's a problem in your town, but a lot of towns that I talk to, that's a huge issue, trying to find these in the winter and whatnot.
Very huge, Mike.
Yeah, that's what I hear. So so, you know, if you purchase this, I come out and train for the full day of how to mark all these assets and whatnot. You have me for like 8 hours. A lot of people don't want me there that long, but I'm usually there for a couple hours, and I like to go demo that and mark a couple different types of assets and whatnot. But that's always a neat feature when I demonstrate that and we go and find a curb box kind of thing, right? It's a very, very useful tool. And again, with curb boxes, with these views as well, these custom views. So just say you have people, you know, that are seasonal in your town, they go down south for the winter, you want a quick view. These are all customers with water shut off because they're seasonal or non-payment. Again, visually, we try to give you, you know what I mean? As much information as possible when we can. So those are pretty neat features like that. And again, you know, when we came out with this, we didn't have all these assets, and we had a customer, well, can you do trees? And we said, well, certainly, if you need trees, we can do trees. Just go ahead and give us the maintenance sheet that you want and the information you want there. So, you know, the next day we had a nice little tree icon. The town was paying someone to come in and locate all their trees and fill out all this information right here and keep track of it. And we gave the town the ability to basically mark them themselves and have the person come out and fill out this information. And you can see that one is red. So if you ever have a storm, you know, it blows down or whatnot, you can keep track of that with pictures as well. So all the assets are basically the same. You know, you point on it or you click on it and you go to maintenance view and gives you all the information. So again, I can't stress enough, we're not only water distribution, we do dog licensing. This was an idea from one of our customers. So they wanted to keep track of dog licensing. So you click on that, same thing, information, all the licensing information, complaint information, if there's an incident. And I guess a picture of one of the salespeople's dogs or someone's dog. So you can keep track of that right there. We also do code enforcement. Click on that. Get out. So if you want to keep track of, you know, different code enforcements and statuses, put in notes, you can upload the file of the actual complaint, take pictures, etc. Track all that stuff. So multiple things. Someone had mentioned Chris.
Come back.
Internet's even cold.
Back. I don't know if that's my internet or yours.
It's yours.
What did I say? Oh, Christmas decorations. Someone had mentioned that earlier. So yeah, this was an idea from one of our customers as well. Oh, they only have one on the demo. So yeah, if you wanted to take this icon and, you know, mark all the locations where you put your decorations and whatnot, you could certainly do that. I'm not sure what kind of maintenance sheet they use for this, but I mean, whatever you wanted to use. Oh, they have nothing. It's just a location for now. So the ID, power, location description, who it's maintained by. But if you wanted a little maintenance sheet, we could certainly put that there. You could take a picture. So yeah, anything and everything really, when it comes down to it. We do work orders as well. Work orders are very simple. You know, if you want to do a work order, I'll show you an example right here. So this hydrant number 36, the one with the gravel around it, if we wanted to do a work order, I could simply just click on it, create a work order, put in the title, the information, address, customer's name, phone number, if there is a customer, schedule a date, a time, confirm the schedule with the customer if needed, and then assign it. All your staff would be listed right here. And you would just pick who you assign it to. I'll assign it to myself. Description, I'll just put in test. And then hit save. So you've created a work order. It's assigned to me. I'll get an email indicating that there's a work order assigned to me. Here it is. So I'm the, you know, the person that you assign the work order to. It's going to say there's a work order for you. And when I click on it, it takes me right to the work order. And the asset that I need to work on is highlighted. So all the work order information is right here. I can take a picture before I start the work order so you can get it before and after, which is pretty valuable. This is the awesome part. We had Jared is a public works foreman over at Quill Lake in Saskatchewan, really small village. He uses this to its full extent. It's really awesome having someone that embraces it like that. And he made a great point. He's like, Mike, I'm paperless with all these work orders, except for my safe dig form. He's like, can you attach a digital form to the work orders or multiple forms. So that's what we did. So, you know, you can fill out your safe dig work form. All the information's right here. Hit authorize work, or your, you know, your pre-job checklist right here. Fill all that out. Start your work order, and then when you start it, brings you to this. You put in your completion notes. Take a picture. You know, shoveled gravel away from fire hydrant, and then hit complete. And then the person that created the work order will get an email indicating that the work order they created is complete. I'll just go right here. So I just got another one attached because I created and assigned to myself. So work order you created has been completed. Click right here to view it. So you could click on it and see that completion page that I just had. Very simple, very easy way to keep track of it. And a great way to assign work.
Sorry,
And then
those work orders, are they attached to the scheduling on that hydrant? Do they stay attached to it?
So they're not attached to the scheduling. So you can go through and run a work order report if you want to see what was assigned to what and when it was completed, and filtered on if it started, on started, or completed, right? So if you want to see all the work orders for fire hydrants that were, you know, completed, and the date completed, the date range, and then go apply filters, you would only get the work orders for fire hydrants, right? And you can export to Excel, PDF, print, CSV, kind of thing. So, and we have you'll see a bunch of like very specific reports here. So we were making these, you know, we'd have a customer say, I want to run a report on this, or I want to run a report on that, and we'd have to make a specific report. Now we have dynamic reports, which allows us to basically create and run a report on any one of those fields in the maintenance bracket for every asset, if that makes sense. So you're kind of unlimited. So if I want to, you know, run a report for fire hydrants, so these are all the fire hydrants. I just selected that asset. Let's say I want to run a report for all of them. I pick the question that I'm interested in. So here are all the questions from the maintenance sheet. And again, that's a lot to navigate through. So let's say I want to see, you know, everyone that needs to be painted. I can put in paint for the question, condition of paint. I can go create report. And then it's going to, once it loads, because there's quite a few hydrants on here, it's going to give me a report of every hydrant with the condition of the paint and any changes that it's had. And then you can export that. And then if you don't want that one, you can go selected response, create a new report, go to hydrant, and again, select all the hydrants, add the question. Again, I'm interested in paint, and this one's very specific to the results. So condition of paint, I want requires further attention, and create next. And then here's a list of all the hydrants that require further attention in regards to paint that need to be painted. So you can see by running reports, based on those questions, you're really getting access to quite a wealth of information, right? Once you have your assets marked and all the information filled out. And then from there, if you make a report that you think, okay, I'm going to be running this every month or on a, you know, a pretty regular basis, you can save that report. And then you have a pre-made report. You can hydrant paint condition. And this is where I clicked before, manage save reports, and all your reports would be listed right here.
All right, well, thanks, Mike. I think that's a lot there. Does anybody have any other questions? Andrew?
Just one other question. Your programming, does it do individual residence houses as well?
Yeah, you can mark buildings, properties, lots, etc. And one last quick thing that I like to show, this is a great way to manage. So you can put storage garages. So let's say this is like public works or fire department garage. All the equipment that you have in that garage, like anything you do maintenance on, vehicles, lawnmowers, trailers, etc. You can list in there. And you see the trailer's red, which means it's out of service. Again, another inspection sheet. Anything required or recommended. And again, I didn't touch on this, but all the asset information too, which is very important, the cost, replacement cost, maintenance costs. And based on that information, you can run a budget report if you want information on all the assets that are due to expire this year and the cost and the replacement costs associated on their expected lifetime, which is pretty important, right?
And looking at like for insurance, when you were doing insurance and even like, if you get something stolen, I guess like amortization. Easy to report.
And Mike, is this all inclusive? Like there's not separate modules that have to be purchased separately, it's all?
Yeah, full disclosure, the only thing that we offer separately, and it's not even really separate, and I'll show you very quickly the example here. So we have, you see two water treatment plants here, right? The green one, I got to make sure. So the green one is not included just because this is if you set up a water treatment plant, you have a direct line with our engineer and he goes through and we program this tile system. So we break down your water plant with all the like motors and pumping equipment and stuff that you want to do maintenance on and have scheduling on and whatnot. And they go through and put it in a tear down tile system like this. And then when you click on the pump here, you'll see you can set a schedule and you got all the asset information, all the cost information, all the work order ability and whatnot, similar to everything else. It's just a different view. And we would offer it for free, but it's a little bit development time intensive, right? I mean, we can't, you know what I mean? Especially if you're taking up a software developer's time, it costs a little bit of money, right? So that is not included, but you can use just a regular water treatment plant, right? And you'll get a maintenance view here. And then you can put related assets to it. So you can still put assets in here. You can put your pumps and stuff, right? In here and get an inspection sheet and whatnot. If that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. It's a little wonky to explain. You're able to achieve the same result with both. This one's just a lot nicer, obviously. And you can do, all your lift stations. I'm just spitting out options of what we, tripping hazards, sidewalks, walking trails, playground equipment, lift stations. I mean, you can do it all. You can literally do it all with this system or with this software. And there's no add-ons except for the water treatment. 24/7 support. I'm your local support. Chat button support right here. Unlimited users, unlimited assets. You get pushed out all the updates that we give everyone else. If someone comes up with a great idea or functionality, if someone requires an asset, we make that asset and push it out to everyone. I send an update every Friday to our customers with new things that have been created, new features. Like I said, we're always adding to it, so we're never done, obviously, right? And we offer the ability for add-on equipment like high water at lift stations, actual hardware that sends out a text message and alert on this software to let you know if you're getting high water at your lift station, or pressure monitoring on your water mains or any pressure point. sends a text message if you get low pressure, high pressure, and it all integrates right into this system. So, you know,
So Mike, the big question, price please, approximately.
so we price on population, and I believe, what did I write down for your population? 970?
We're about 1,000, Mike. We're 1,000.
Okay. I think I had said that I had it listed at 970, so let's keep it at 970, which would put you in the price bracket below the 1,000, if
We're
that
good
makes
with
sense.
We're at 970. 970.
Yeah. So we price, full disclosure, we price population 0 to 500, 500 to 1,000, and 1,000 to 2,500. Okay. So for you folks, 500 to 1,000, the setup would be $2,800. And that includes any importing of any shape files or anything previously marked or whatnot. That's the training, all that good stuff. Although there's no limits on training. I've gone to some places 5 times over if someone was having a difficult time embracing the GPS unit, right? And the annual fee would be $1,500 a year. No contracts. If you have us for a year and you say, Mike, thanks, but no thanks, you just don't have access to the website anymore. But, and I can't stress this enough, you do own your data. You own all of it. If you say, Mike, thanks, but no thanks, we will send you all your shape files and information. We don't keep that. We don't want it. It's yours. All your data is stored in Canada as well. I mean, we have a big server farm room down in the US, but this is considered secure data. It has to be stored in Canada. So we lease Amazon servers, which have a great backup protocol, and we have a great backup protocol on top of that. The only other extra, which is used to mark your assets, the sub-meter GPS with the tablet. This is $4,000 and it's yours. You own it. I have rented them in the past, and the town rented it for a month and just said, we'll buy it. We just need it. We'll just buy it. And again, full disclosure, you do not need this to mark assets. They just will not be accurate. You can use your phone, but your phone GPS limits are 10 to 15 feet. Or you can literally place them on the map yourself. I can literally go into settings, GPS finder. I'm in any town. Just pick a zone. Say building. So I can literally go down here. It's a little bit hard to do with your video right there, but I can literally click right here, copy the coordinates. I'll put in the name here, test, and hit send. Marked. Done. And that's exactly how you mark using the GPS. The only difference is those coordinates are coming from the GPS and super accurate, as opposed to me putting my pointer on the map where I think so marking buildings and stuff, super fast, obviously, right? But marking like curb stops and whatnot, curb boxes, anything that you need some accuracy with, GPS is the way to go.
And how much for the water treatment add-on thing?
So now, do you just have water treatment or wastewater treatment as well?
We've got both, Mike.
Okay, so we do both. Both are included in your population level. It's only the bigger cities that have the humongous ones that we only do one for that price. So 2 are included for that price. It is the exact same as the setup and the recurring for the AST software, if that makes sense. So $2,800 to set it all up, and there's an annual fee on that water, both those water plants, for a total of $1,500 as well. So if you wanted AST with your wastewater treatment and water treatment, you would be looking at $5,600 for everything, for the setup. And you would be looking at an annual fee of $3,000 for the plants and the software combined together.
Then can you get extra tablets for different people in Public Works, or?
Oh, absolutely. We have some towns that buy, we have some big cities that buy 4 or 5 GPS units with tablets. And you don't have to buy, like, I would suggest if you bought the GPS with the tablet, I would suggest you buy, if you're only buying one GPS, I would suggest you buy it, the tablet from us with this, because it'll come programmed with this app and everything, shortcuts to the website and all that stuff preloaded in. But yeah, if you wanted to get more tablets, you could go buy your own tablets and just access all this on, like, you can access the web, you can access AST on any web capable device. So any cell phone, as long as it's got an internet connection.
Okay.
And the tablet, so this is, like I said, $4,000 for the tablet and the GPS, but you would have to get a SIM card with a data plan for the network connection, right? Which would be, I don't know, depending on the data plan, $25 or $30. You can do it through a hotspot, through a phone. It is a lot of monkeying around. I would just get the SIM card to be with the data plan, right? And we put a link to our YouTube channel on here with a bunch of instructional videos and stuff from YouTube. On our website, we have a help section right here. So all the stuff that I zoom through there, you can go in and take a look at. Yeah, and I can't stress enough, our customer service is fantastic. Ever need references, whatnot, I can give you references or contact information for references, customer list, etc. I can give you all that information upon request. Absolutely.
How many municipalities are you working with, Michael?
So in Alberta, it's a funny story. When we started this, so I started selling this in 2019. Back then, we didn't have work orders, we didn't have scheduling. Like I said, the software has come a long way since then. I started in Alberta, and it was difficult getting into towns and whatnot like yourselves. I find Alberta is much further ahead than a lot of the provinces. So a lot of towns already had existing software, and then I'm trying to sell you my software because I feel it's better, right? I think it's, and at that time, it lacked a couple of the features. But Saskatchewan, we were an awesome fit for a lot of the smaller towns, a lot of these 200, 300, 400 population. So Saskatchewan became super busy for me, and I focused out there. So in Saskatchewan, we have 20 plus customers. And in Alberta right now, we have the county of Peace River and Toefield. And those are our only customers in Alberta right now, only strictly because I'm one person and I've been focusing on Saskatchewan, to be totally honest with you. I am focusing on Alberta now, and I'm glad to say that there seems to be a trend where this software at this price point with these features is very attractive, and I'm getting a lot of attention from people that already have existing software that, to be frank, cost a lot more than ours. And I mean, this is what I'm running into. A lot of those customers that weren't interested years ago signed a 5-year contract. That contract's up, but they signed a contract and it was great. They probably had a grant, but then a year later, that reoccurring came in at a very, very high cost. And then Public Works wasn't using it. And then a lot of other people weren't using it. And all of a sudden they're paying for software that they thought was a good deal that turned out not to be, unfortunately. And I'm not knocking anyone's software. It's just what I'm running into right now. So that's why we don't push any contracts or anything. It's you literally pay your annual fee and you have access to the website.
Any other questions? I think that's pretty good. Well, I would appreciate the presentation and your time, Mike, and
Well, thank
certainly-
you, and
Yeah, we're doing our budget deliberations, so we should be gonna answer fairly soon on this to you.
okay, excellent, and thanks again, and again, I can't stress it, I like to be in person for this, but I was glad I could fit in as many meetings as I did today. It was fantastic, so thank you for letting me connect via Zoom. That was great.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, have a great
Okay.
night.
Too.
All right. Okay, I guess we'll move right on to the RCMP Sergeant Moore. Go right ahead.
Okay, well, thank you for having me. I don't want to take up too much of your time there. I know that this went on for a little while there, so, but thank you for having me. I do just want to sort of touch base maybe on the previous quarter, so the first 2 quarters of this fiscal year that we have, just to review some of the stats and some of the priorities that we have. And then some of the highlights or files of interest, I guess it would be, over the past few months, and then open it up to any questions that you may have. So, as you're probably aware, we do have community priorities. We take the feedback from people like yourselves, mayor councils, as well as town halls, in order to come up with those priorities for each year. So for this fiscal year, we had 3 of them that we were working on. The first one was crime reduction. And that primarily has to do with our prolific offenders and the checks that we perform on the prolific offenders, as well as our, where we work very closely with our crime reduction unit. So our prolific offenders are people who, we refer to them prolific offenders because they primarily are the ones that create most of our issues. And I'm going to say in this, I'll refer to it as Thorsby and Brett because I oversee both those detachments. There's probably 8 to 10 people that are going to be creating most of our work for us in this area here, especially when it comes to property type related crime. So we will be targeting them. We utilize techniques such as checking on when they have conditions. So we, when there's somebody who's under arrest for property related offense, theft, possession of stolen property, those type of things, they tend to be released on some type of condition, or even once they've been convicted, they'll be on conditions, and some of those involve. Big one for us is going to be like house arrest or conditions that they have to be in their residence during certain times of the day. So we can then go and check those ones. Just for, if you're not in your home during the specified time that you're supposed to be, that becomes a criminal offense for them. So we show up, they're not there, we can come back the next day, or if we can't find them, then put out a warrant for their arrest, and then we continue through the process. They then have to go back before, most cases, before justice of the peace, and continue on through the process. So it becomes more of a challenge there for them to be, because if they're supposed to be in their home between 10 at night, 6 in the morning, and they're not there, they're probably up to no good. What they're up to, we may not catch them doing it, but they will be charged with a criminal offense there. And we don't just do it, at 11 o'clock every night. Sometimes we may not do it for a few days, and then sometimes we might do it 2 or 3 times in the same night. So in case they just decide, oh, well, the police already checked me, I'm good to go for the rest of the night, well, we might be coming back again. So we've had very good success, and I'll sort of get to that in a moment here when I start talking about my stats. But for the last quarter there, second quarter, we did 113 checks, and year to date we have checked 179 people there on individual checks. The other thing is we work very closely with our crime reduction unit, the crew team that we call them. So Thorsby and Breton are very small detachments. We have access to multiple different units throughout the province, one of them being the crime reduction unit that's based at the Edmonton airport. They're a plainclothes unit that will concentrate, especially in this area, on drug, property-related offenses, those type of things. And, they can come out there, they'll have, their plainclothes, they'll be in nondescript vehicles. Certain times we'll be utilizing dogs, we'll have access to drones, helicopters, those type of things, in order to track some of these prolific offenders. So that's been very effective as going in the trend that we like. And like I said, I'll get to that in a moment. Next priority was communicating effectively. That primarily has to do with these type of meetings that I attend. So for the previous quarter, I went to 4 council meetings. And we also have a town hall that's going to be coming up. So I'll do 2 town halls a year. I did one there in the spring. And in January, I think it'll be January 17th, there's going to be another one. So I'll send out that information so you'll have that. I did do one here in Thorsby, so in the past, so I try and move it around, so I've done it in Moorburg, Thorsby, Breton, and then the next one now is gonna be down in, Alder Flats or Buck Lake area down there. So just so I can have access to different groups of people there, but everybody's invited to attend those. At that point in time, I'll do a little bit of review on the stats. I'm also gonna bring in our crime reduction unit on that one to give a presentation as well, and then get the feedback from the public, because we will be looking at that point in time in January. Moving into April the 1st will be the start of our new fiscal year to determine what our new priorities are going to be, or what we're going to set our priorities for the next fiscal year. And then finally is enhanced road safety. The big thing there, the big 2 are going to be check stops and violator contacts, so that's being out there on a proactive basis. The hope is that if we're out there doing proactive work, it saves a lot of reactive. So in the last quarter, we did 17 check stops for a total of 34 year to date for 2 quarters, and then violator contacts was 171 for a total of 302. So we'll be, hopefully you'll see an increased number of check stops here over the Christmas season and stuff there. And like I said, that's the hope is that by being out there proactively, that we can prevent some of these more serious types of collisions that result in every year death or serious injuries. There are a number of pages, and I know I've sent this, you get this on a quarterly basis, so like I said, stats can be somewhat boring, so I'll just leave it with you. If there's any questions, I can answer those. But for the first half of the year, our stats are trending in the downward trend, which is very good. With the exception of one, and actually that is going up, so it's under the title of Other Criminal Code, and that's where I talked about that one. There has actually been a 39% increase from July to September, and even though that's trending upwards, that's actually a good thing, because those are ones where we're going out there and doing that proactive work, like I said, and checking on people, and then we'll be charging them. So that's a proactive one as opposed to a reactive one. The other one there just has to do with our the composition of our detachments there. So employee-wise, we're doing very well. We have all of our admin positions that are filled, and I'm only short 1 constable right now, which is very good for the province-wide or even countrywide if you look at policing in general. So I know that some stuff has come out of BC, and they're talking 20% vacancy and stuff there. So out of the 14 positions that I have, there's only 1 that's vacant there right now. So, and we're able to manage that fairly easily. So, just a couple of files of significance. So, like I said, I talked about this because once again, criminals don't know boundaries, so they don't really care whether it's in Thorsby's area or Breton's area or Rocky or Drayton Valley. So, but we did have a couple of fairly serious files here. One on October the 17th, another one on October the 22nd. Both of those were murders down in the Breton area. First one happened on October the 17th, and you can see just somewhat of a minor file, or what seems like a relatively minor file, can turn into something very serious. So our members really never know what they're going to be walking into. So that one there was just a well-being check that's how that check or file came in. It's just a family member was concerned for the well-being of a relative. Once we were at that scene, we ended up finding one male was deceased as a result of a murder. But our members were able to, they had the suspect in custody immediately, so there's no threat or anything to the community as a whole. So that file was Aspen area, but that body was ended up found out in our area there. So that was within 5 days, we had 2 bodies, which is really unheard of for this area. So anyway, yeah. So that tied up quite a few resources, but in a case like that, where I talk about we have access to these other units across the province, like I said, small detachment like we have here with a total of 14 members plus administrative staff. That would be the file that, not that we don't have the skill set, but we definitely don't have the manpower to do that. So and it wouldn't matter whether it's a small area like this, or if you're talking Leduc or Red Deer or anything, we bring in our major crimes unit, which was brought in on both of those files there, and then they take over that file with the assistance of the local detachment. So, and then something that is more, pertinent to the area that happens on a more regular basis there. So, on October the 26th, this is another file that this started out down in the Sylvan Lake area. So we had a crime reduction unit. Like I said, they're not tied to specifically to our area. They're basically a Central Alberta crime reduction unit. They were monitoring some prolific offenders from this area that had to be down in Sylvan Lake. One thing led to another through some surveillance techniques, and that ended up in our area here, down in the Tasman County area, resulted in recovery of a stolen truck, methamphetamines, break-in tools, stolen fuel cards, VIN stickers from stolen trailers. We inside the disaster garage, we located another stolen F-350 that was out of Leduc County. So there's all these things that are all sort of tied together there. So if we only ever just looked at just our one little area, you would miss a whole bunch of other stuff. So that started at Sylvan Lake, ended up in Tasman County, executed 2 search warrants there. So we arrested 2 people. There was outstanding warrants that were executed. So they were wanted on 5 warrants. We had 15 new charges and recovered 4 stolen vehicles just in that. And then around that same time there, we had another local gentleman who was from the Thorsby area. He decided that he was going to run from Edmonton Police, which is never a good idea. And they ended up, once he did decide to run from that vehicle, he ended up getting bit by a dog. And now he's looking at, last I heard, probably upwards of 19 months in jail. So we have a number of our prolific offenders that have been in custody over sporadically, but for a significant portion of these last 6 months. And as a result, that'll have a direct effect on our crime. So it's on the downward trend, and I can attribute that to probably 3 or 4 people that have spent most of the last 6 to 8 months in jail. But you'll see that just go in cycles and stuff there. So that's why it's easier when they do come out and they're on conditions to just keep basically hammering them on their conditions in order to try and prevent that crime from happening. So, yeah. So that's what we have there. That's what's going on in the world of police, I guess.
Question,
Yeah.
just for my own curiosity.
Sure.
Do you have any numbers from Saturday's check stop in the middle of the afternoon?
Yeah, so, and that's the thing, so we will, check stops will be set up there. We didn't get anybody that was impaired there. And I go back to my Leduc days when that was my first posting. And we would be setting, especially this time of year, we would just set up check stops, and they can be anytime, day or night. And, especially, I'm gonna say in the NISCU area, and the hope was that not necessarily to go and try and find people that were drinking and driving, but if we could just prevent it. So did I catch anybody that time? Maybe not. But at this time of year, you may have some of these companies that are setting up where, okay, in the afternoon, you're gonna get the afternoon off, you're gonna hang out, we'll shut the doors, you'll have a few drinks at the office, and then you're gonna go home. Well, if we can have those check stops that are set up, like I said, and that could be on a Wednesday or whatever, and maybe it could be somebody that came through that check stop, they're like, oh man, next week was my party. And, but I never know when the police are gonna be around, because if I only ever see them at 11 o'clock on a Friday night, well then I really don't care what happens on a Wednesday.
Yeah, because I saw 2, I drove through one in town, and then that night when I went to Walmart in Leduc, there was another one set up there. I was like, wow.
Yeah, so Saturday was one where it was basically,
Awareness.
probably,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly, that was a national impaired initiative. So there was more happening right across all of Canada than would normally be happening. So that's probably why you saw additional ones on Saturday. But like I said, we had a fairly serious file that took place here, so my resources got pulled away, but I was planning on doing 4 just on Saturday. So
So is that like, so when you were making people blow, was that just for no reasons whatsoever, just having people blow?
Yeah, so the legislation changed in 2018. So, prior to that, it doesn't matter what the rules were prior to that, but from 2018 onwards, so it's mandatory alcohol screening is what they refer to it as now. So just with you being behind the wheel, you have a legal requirement to provide a sample of your breath. We don't have to talk to you at all. Like, we can just say blow. That's it. So just driving, there's a legal requirement for you to provide a breath sample. If you refuse to provide a breath sample, then you can be charged with that.
And there's no real test for cannabis use at all now yet?
Well, there is an instrument there's different instruments that are being utilized. We're not utilizing them here. But we have then, as opposed to an instrument in that case, we have members that are trained on SFST, Standard Field Sobriety Training, and then DREs, which are referred to as a drug recognition expert. So they would be able to put you through physical testing, as opposed to that instrument. That instrument is very black and white. You blow, it kicks out a numerical value, and we go from there based off how much alcohol is in your system. The other type of tests that are being done are going to be, there's a multiple different tests, but based off of those results of those ones, they can then tell, and we'll be able to go to court in order to testify to that, what type of drug you're on. So it's not just for cannabis, it can be, it's stimulants and depressants and those type of things, and then we'll be able to tell based off of that testing, you could be on marijuana and you could be on cocaine, and so marijuana will be a downer and then cocaine will be a stimulant and stuff there, but so even if you have multiple different drugs that are on board there, they will be able to testify to that. And then, but just having a drug in your system is not illegal. It's your ability to operate a motor vehicle is impaired by a drug or alcohol. So they have to be able to get to that with saying that, yes, that drug is impairing your ability to drive. Because once again, we'll talk about cannabis, isn't be an illegal drug. That's legal. You can have cannabis in your system and not affect your ability to drive. But at a certain point, it is going to affect your ability to drive, and then that becomes a criminal offense.
Andrew, you had a question?
Yeah, I was actually gonna relate to Councillor Rash there. Yes, nobody gets through those roadblocks, including Public Works. We've all had to blow.
Anybody have any other questions?
No, I wasn't a question, I was just gonna say, this is probably the first time you or any of your predecessors came in here where I haven't had something stolen in between, so whatever you're doing is actually working.
There we go. We got
I have not had to complain about any
more of my people that are in jail here right now,
Yeah.
which is very
Keeping the
helpful.
crime rate down.
Yeah, I literally don't think it's ever happened before, so thank you.
Okay, good. Yeah, well, that's the thing. Hopefully we can keep on top of that. I'm not gonna guarantee it and stuff. Like I said, it does go in cycles, and it depends on who's in custody and who's not.
I just have, the two big ones are the Esso break-in here and the one at the ATV and Warburg. Any charges ever come on any of those or anything, or are you still?
There's things that are pending on that. The investigations are still open on those for sure, and so we're still working on it. So hopefully there will be something coming out of that. So those type of files become a little more challenging.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it happens all over across Alberta. I mean, it's a nasty one.
And, if we had video of it, you can, it's a surveillance, that makes it much easier and stuff, but these two that you're talking about there are a little more challenging to manage, but they're still being investigated, and we're working on those for sure. So hopefully we'll have something of that.
Thanks for that. Anything else? Well, thank you very much. Appreciate the update, and keep up the good work.
All right, excellent. Good. All right.
See you tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll see you tomorrow there. Okay.
All right, moving on, bylaw 2022-17 emergency manager draft, and it's just for discussion. Sarah Donna, you wanna talk about that?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, basically, this is a cleanup of the emergency management bylaw that was in the past in 2020. There's just been some new language come out of the province of our emergency management agency. We in the whereas section, we had to split that up and add the proper whereases, and break it up a little bit. The old bylaw didn't have the purpose statement, so we added the purpose statement. We enhanced the definitions a bit, and we changed a little bit of language on committee. Jesse, if you can go to page 22 of the new one, the one we're proposing. We cleaned a lot of that language up and shortened it, because the new AMA, Emergency Management Agency, just talks about committee and agency. And so inside the committee section, it just talks about who it will consist of. Keep going, Jeff, 22. There you go. The committee consists of the mayor, council member, and the town chief administrative officer. Before, in the old bylaw, it had, you know, if one council can't make it, the next one can, and if the deputy mayor is there, this isn't there. It was just way too complex. In Alberta Management Agency, the committee is the mayor, council, and the town chief administrative officer, so you can make those decisions.
As you say, that was all largely convoluted, or than I felt it should be, in direct correspondence with, like, we literally had Alberta Emergency Management representatives saying it should be that convoluted, though. So you're saying one thing and that it's convoluted. I agree that it's convoluted when you sit down and try to read it.
Yeah.
It was explicitly at the direction of Alberta Emergency Management representatives, though.
Yeah, it certainly isn't a criticism of the last file.
No, I'm not saying it's a criticism of the last file. I'm saying it's in there because the province representative was saying it should be in there, so I don't know why we're changing it if the province is explicitly saying that's what you need to do to meet the requirement.
The province has changed some things, and we've had some legal direction on it that just cleans it up.
Okay.
It's a little less complex.
As long as as long as Alberta Emergency Management is comfortable with the changes, because they were the one, like, that specific section, I agree was convoluted, but it was explicitly at their direction.
Yeah, no, I agree, and from 2020 to now, things change, field officers have changed, and they have a new director.
Okay.
So, anytime you have a new director, you have
Well,
to change.
fair enough, but yeah, that's why I figured I better clarify.
No, it's all good. No, I like the question. Same as we did with the agency. We're not, if you can scroll down just a little bit, with the agency, we haven't taken the flavor from the other one. We didn't shorten anything and take any shortcuts, but basically, if we look on page 23, Jeff, the next page, please. It had everything in there from call this person, call Alberta Health, call this. We just consolidated it. So the Director of Emergency Management could call anybody they want. If you can see in F, any other organization, if the opinion of the director may assist, because a lot of times if you have too big a list, you're going to forget somebody. So it's the big ones run through Thorsby now with utility companies, rail companies, health agencies, service organizations, and of course Alberta Emergency Management Agency. And we have a new field director coming in the new year. I've spoken to him. But it gives us the right to have any other organization that we think is going to help us, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's no listing on it. Talks about the director. We just cleaned up the language a bit, basically scheduling the meetings and coordinating the plan, and that will come in the new year too. We'll just relook at that plan. Act as the Director of Emergency Operations Center, which is obviously here in council chambers usually, or over at the rec center. Coordinate all emergency services, ensure that the plan is reviewed, emergency management plan is implemented. So nothing hugely changed from that section. If you look at J, from time to time, the director may invite individuals, including town employees and community members, to discuss matters of relevance with the agency. So we can invite guests in, is basically what that was saying. So we just made that a little easier to understand. And then on 13, the agency shall, and we utilize command, control, and coordination, so the ICS training that everybody will get, and then provide the annual report to the committee, which is council, mayor, town manager. So the agency is all of us as staff. The committee is council, town manager, mayor. Declaration, we just divided the duties a little bit in this to make it a little less cumbersome, and we added, what did we add here? We didn't actually, we took some of the authorities out and put them in here as our declaration, because when you declare, you have all these powers, so to speak, and we just cleaned up the declaration of the state of local emergency. In number 2, you can see it must identify the nature, identify the area of the town where it exists, immediately cause the details of the declaration to be written, published by such means, and forward a copy to the minister. And we do that through the Emergency Management Agency Operations Center, and right directly to the minister's office. And then a new language there in the next one, Jeff, if you go down to lapse termination, it was just in the old one called termination, it's now called a lapse. This came as a result of pandemic, simply because nobody knew how long the pandemic was going to last, so you can't keep declaring forever and ever, so we declared in lapse time. Most towns did, that had to declare a state of local emergency, some did, some didn't. And so you have a lapse time of 90 days. It just makes it easier on the municipality, and it makes it easier on your resources. And let's see, on the next page, it talks about how it lapses and what happens when in the opinion of the committee. And of course, the committee is council, mayor, chief administrative officer, or designate. And basically, the termination of it. So we cleaned up a little bit. Lieutenant Governor and Council, as you see on number C, makes an order for the state of emergency under the Act. That's basically, Lieutenant Governor and Council is the one that makes all the regulations for the province. So that's just a little different language. And then the effective date. So this is for your use. Take a look. If you have any questions, that you have to add a severability clause in this one that we didn't add on purpose tonight. But take a look at it and provide me with any feedback, any questions, concerns. And this does not take the place of the regional emergency management bylaw that we will all participate in as a 3920 group along with the county of, probably not Breton, sorry, you're Brazeau. But we know that if we call Breton and said help, they've come to our aid, we've come to theirs. But the regional one is in legal right now through the county of Leduc. Leduc City and Devon are not participating. So that does not, in that particular bylaw, the regional one indicates that the town authority has autonomy to use their own bylaw and their own emergency management plan. We took it out of this one because that overarching bylaw gives us the autonomy in there. So that's it in a nutshell.
Thank you. Anybody have any further questions on that? Andrew, you still got some more courses to go?
I actually only have one more course to go. Yeah, but it's finding that course. It'll probably be another couple of years before they actually offer it.
Oh, I see. That's 400? Yeah, that's a tough one to get. They don't offer it very often, but Andrew and I are trained right up to 300. I have 400 and 401 executive, so right on. It's a tough one to get.
Yeah.
Andrew and I have to retake the Director of Emergency Management. The council for the province wants us to. It is a free course. We just have to sit for a day on Zoom and take it. It just means I have to retake it, and that's okay. That's fine. Good.
All right, no other questions? Then we'll go on to 3.4, the service standards.
Your worship, this policy we just re-reviewed. We wanted to change some of the language because municipalities don't have customers. We needed a couple definitions in the new policy, and we wanted to have a better history. The old policy did not have a number on it, so we can't rescind it, but we'll rescind it by name instead of number. And we just wanted to put it in our format, basically, and just take out a couple things on the old policy. The last two bullets on the first page, we took out ensure all staff members provide professional, polite, and helpful service while ensuring that all interactions are conducted with integrity, discretion, and respect. That's basically set up top. And provide all staff with appropriate customer service training to ensure the consistent delivery of exceptional service. That's kind of set up top too with training and so forth. So it's a bit redundant. So it is a draft. You have the old policy with you, or the policy that was passed last year. So please provide us with your thoughts before regular. So this one's just a cleanup, and then we'll put its effective date in, and we'll put its proper numbering in. So this will be probably, it's already numbered, sorry, policy number admin 2201. That's what we're numbering policies is gov, finance, admin, that sort of thing. So that when we put it in our book, we know which refers to us, which refers to finance, and all those policies we'll start working on next for reserves and so forth. They'll start coming in January. And between our governments, et cetera. So that's just a cleanup on that one.
Do you want to get like for feedback before?
deadline for feedback, well, we have 2 weeks till our next council meeting. So-
By Friday the 16th.
Around the 16th would be awesome, yeah. And you don't have to be, you can phone me or you can send it to me in an email. I know Council Corey sent an email before, which is awesome. And we made a lot of those changes, so that was good, in another policy or bylaw. So please feel free to do that, or come sit down with me and we'll make those changes, so, or incorporate your suggestions.
If I could, especially with the emergency management one, we don't want to end up like Parkland County debating with the province over $1 million bill because we didn't do it right, you know what I mean? It's actually a very important thing to go through the process properly to, you know, it can be a real headache if you don't.
No, and I recognize a lot of the verbiage in there from the course that we took with the county there, so I mean.
Yeah, you gotta really make sure we're not missing any, there's some very fine details where the province is gonna say, well, we're not covering the cost then.
100%, and you're 100% right, Council.
I don't think Parkland has ever sorted that out yet. I think they're still waiting on like $3 or $4 million.
100%. You gotta be very specific. It's not just, well, send our expenses in and wait, you're gonna pay.
Yeah, no, because you didn't cross the right T, they're gonna say, we'll talk about it.
Yeah, so I get it, and I know that, like, the county, like County was saying, you know, they're working on theirs, and they're having doing the same things, so we can get them all on the same page.
I hope so too. We'll keep working at it. We don't give up out here in Thorsby. We're very tenacious.
All right, thank you, and then we'll go to the, council reports, and I apologize for not handing mine in, I just, had it written here, but I didn't send it in, sorry about that. So, my report for the month of December, the following activities: November the 3rd, as everybody, we had the special council meeting to review and approve the 2021 financial papers as prepared by auditors John Pinsent Corporation. John Pinsent presented via Zoom, and Jeanette Adams was here in person, and we approved that one there. November the 8th, we had the council of the whole meeting. November 10th, I attended a meet and greet at the Leduc Golf and Country Club with Councilors Rash and Musson. Representatives were on hand for the city of Leduc, county of Leduc, South Edmonton, Calmar, Orbit, or in hand. And I was looking for Breton, but then I realized that they're not in the county anymore. Well, you guys weren't there, so. But it was all good, and I think one of the consensus was that we're gonna try and have some more and have everybody else, every community host one over the year. So it's good to share some ideas and do some networking with the other councilors and some of the same problems we all have. November 11th, remembrance service at the high school, laid a wreath on behalf of the town of Thorsby residents, followed by lunch at the school. It was attended pretty good. It was very good service. November 22nd, we had a regular council meeting. November 23rd, the 3920 meeting was canceled. We did the whole one this month. November the 26th, I attended the Chamber of Commerce Gala. It was sold out. They had 224 people. We had a supper, a magician there, Chris Gowan. He kind of went from table to table. It was pretty good.
Yeah, it was good.
He dazzled everybody. Silent auction followed by DJ and dance. The Commerce, every year they're going to honor some people. So this year they honored Richard Hoffman posthumous, Ted Miller for previous contributions. I gave a little speech there, my experience of both of them going back a long time, well over 50 years with Richard. So certainly two very deserving people. My understanding they made about $7,500 at the time, so it was good. November the 28th, subdivision appeal board. I took the virtual training course from 8:30 to 8:30 from the lawyers Brown Lee, as required by the MGA every 3 years. Attained a passing grade that was significantly higher than city of Ottawa. 1.25%, but too much. Way too much. That's all I have. Any questions on my report?
Not at this time.
Yeah, go ahead, Andrew.
Did you cheat on her test?
Actually, no, I did mine. I was at home when she was here. we saw each other on the screen. There was, 22 people at it. The one lady, she, I won't even mention her name, but she had a lot of questions, and then, at the end, she said, I don't think I can pass the test. And it was kind of strange, but.
She was trying way too hard, I think, Mayor Darrell, she's trying to understand it too much as opposed to, you know, but some folks are.
I did find, like I said, that the guide was, it was a 200-page guide, and the reference in it was just awful. You couldn't refer nothing back to it. You had to, if you wanted a question, you had to read the whole section again to answer it, but anyhow.
You're a better reader than me, you beat me.
You changed your answer.
I did, I went back and reviewed, I'm never doing that again.
Always go with your first instinct.
I agree, I'm the same way. It's when you go
You
back, you
overanalyze.
always
Yeah.
start screwing it up.
Go
Your
with your
first
first-
explanation is usually the right one.
That's what they say.
So, I think I had you beat big time.
All right, thank you, Councilor Gilbert.
Yeah, it's, I mean, mostly just, there's a lot of meetings this month, but it was mostly just, the run-of-the-mill meetings that, everyone else was at with, minutes and everything, so I didn't go through too much. There was just the one I pointed out there, because there isn't minutes for it directly. And it's something to look for in the new year there, that, community housing needs assessment, that we were doing here on, the other day there, which technically was December, but current event, so I thought I'd throw it in there. That should be good. We're trying to, the Duke Foundation is trying to do that, to try to set the stage, look for some grant opportunities and stuff, to try to come up with some different ideas, see, make sure we're positioned to look at some other different options, especially for some of the smaller members, like I think Thorsby, Breton, Warburg, right, where the typical kind of, what people have done for affordable housing isn't meeting the needs and doesn't really work in some of the smaller communities. So that's kind of what that's about. So the consultant should have a report out to the Duke Foundation by January. So as soon as that's done and approved by the board there, I'll try to forward it along here for everyone to take a look at.
Like, what is the reasoning to think that it wouldn't be working in the smaller communities?
Because statistically it's not, and,
Because like the sort of, like,
that
just, they're not full?
No, the problem is that a lot of it has been focused on, like specifically seniors housing is typically what's been focused on with seniors housing. You're missing a lot of other demographics. You can't put up, I mean, you look at Cloverleaf, for example, it has very low occupancy because there isn't the health facilities available. So if it's a large facility geared towards people with a likely medical need, but there's not medical services, this notion isn't working, but it was the notion of the day of, we need to have large centers that largely are focusing on seniors. They're missing other demographics, and large scale doesn't always work. And how do you kind of fit in some of those other, the single mom who is unemployed, or someone who's on AISH, or, I mean, the seniors aren't the only people who need affordable housing, and large scale doesn't work in small communities necessarily. So those are kind of some of the, how do we square all those circles?
Yeah. Anybody have any other questions? All right, Councilor Miller, Verbal, not here today. Councilor Musson, she is not back yet. I don't know, do you want me to read that, hers, or, lead on, or are we gonna just leave it there for information?
It's your choice, Mr. Mayor, we can leave it for information.
I can quickly go through it.
Yeah.
So for the month of November, Tracy, she attended the November 3rd special meeting. November 10th, she actually went to the mixer with us, and she was our designated driver, so that was kind of cool. November 16th, the library meeting, plan of service is now complete. There's 200 copies that they're going to distribute. The new board was voted in with the chairs, Marcia Elke, Vice Chair Greg Pawlik, Secretary Don Osnes, Treasury Sevilla Bente. Library will be closed from Christmas for December 23rd to January 4th. They had a book sale that generated $650. Programs offered have been successful. The library presented their budget to us on the 22nd. November 7th, Chamber of Commerce meeting, she attended that. She was at the gala on the 26th. Christmas in the Village, December 7th, and all that happened here in the cool way here, November 2nd, November 25th. She helped with the decorating, and then the 26th all-day budget, and we did.
The 27th, yeah, never
Yeah,
actually happened.
she
I was
sent it
assuming
before,
she did
yeah,
it
before she left.
And that's it. So, if there's any questions for that one? Councilor Rash.
All right, so like Councilor Corey said, November was a busy month. November 3rd, I don't have a date order. November 3rd was the special audit meeting. November 8th, we had our cow. 10th was the Leduc meet and greet, which obviously I attended with Mayor Hostin and Councilor Musson. On the 15th, I did our first FCSS meeting, which we basically voted in our chair and such, which is Lesia Lazat is our chair, so that's excellent. And we had, how many people were there? We had, I think there was, how many of us? 7?
Yeah.
Was there that many?
Yeah.
It didn't seem like that many. And Dylan, Lesia's son Dylan came as our student, so we had all the pieces of our puzzle, so that was excellent. And basically the main topic of conversation, of course, was Christmas elves, which is what we've been working on now for the last couple weeks. So there was that. November 18th, I actually was able to attend for the first time ever. The Healthy Community Committee had a gathering. My mind is drawing a blank, and I didn't write down her name.
Her name is Deb.
Yes, Bev came out, and we went, and thank goodness, it was a beautiful day. So we went on about an hour-ish trek of the trails, and we, before that, we sat in here and discussed, and she was able to share with us, like, all the different communities and where they were at on their grants and such. So it was actually quite an informational meeting that we got, and it was nice to meet her, and she was able to tell us some more about other grants and stuff. So I thought it was an excellent meeting. The 22nd was our regular council meeting. The 26th was our special council meeting. I missed the library meeting that in November, and Tracy did an excellent job. I was just going through all the minutes to see if there was anything. The biggest thing, of course, was it was the AGM, and there was a few people stepping down, so they did the elections, and as you saw, who's taken over. So there's that. And then just public relations stuff. November 6th, I went to the Our Lady of Victory Supper, which was actually really awesome because I got to sit with a couple of our local politicians, so that's always nice when you get to hear from others. November 11th, I had also attended the Remembrance Day ceremony at the high school. November 17th, I did the volunteering for the senior bingo as the paymaster. November 18th, I attended the Historical Society Christmas Market. And then November 29th was the Christmas Elves Food Drive. So myself and I volunteered my sons, and we attended to help unload the fire trucks and stuff. And then just more recent, yesterday, time is just a big blur, I apologize. I think yesterday, I went for about an hour and a half, 2 hours to help start doing the sorting of all the food and moving it. It's a lot of work. The biggest thing I think is the most time consuming was checking the dates. Yeah. Like such a big job.
That you had to get rid of?
Well, I mean, I guess the rule now is, and I don't know if this is a Leduc Food Bank or who sets these perimeters, but I don't think a lot of food has expiry dates anymore per se. Yeah, but if it says expired, then you can't use it. But the best before dates, we just kept the best befores that were like 21, 22. We didn't keep things that were like 216, 218. Okay. Like we had some best befores that were like a long time ago. I know, like I'm like, this is disgusting.
I think from my days, little can of soup in their cupboard for a decade.
Well, there's one can that looked like it was about to explode.
But I think when I was on the board of the food bank, there is some kind of rule about the.
Yeah, like I think you're supposed to, it's supposed to be good for 6 months ahead. I had heard that one, but we didn't do that. We just did, so we kept a separate pile of stuff from like 2021, 2022, because I believe how it works is.
Actually, we removed it.
Oh, did you all
Yeah.
together?
It has to be,
Within
that today's date or, ahead.
Oh, because I was under the impression that once they had their hampers, they were able to help themselves to that
Well,
if they chose to.
I think they can choose to do that, but we did separate them.
Yeah, separated them. Yeah. So, yeah. But there, and then Michaela said that a lot of it is done. Carol was saying she's gonna go tomorrow and finish up the few boxes that were still there.
Yeah.
But I think there's still stuff coming in. So
You were saying Mary's,
I think Barry was helping Michaela with her.
no, not the grocery store. The hospital.
Well, I don't know about the churches either.
Yeah, churches will be.
Yeah, so there's still more coming.
It's gonna be big back.
So much toilet paper.
I said everybody that was.
I'm like, this is where all the hoarding took place. But, yeah, so, if we're able, like, the hope is to go in there periodically through the week, because Michaela said we're able to go in and help do things on our own time if we're able, because everybody, of course, is so busy with the crazy stuff going on right now. So the plan is next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, to finish everything up and start packing up everything, so. I think it's just hard because Michaela's part-time, right? And all of us are, there's not a lot of us, right? So it's just a lot, right? Yeah. I think that's it.
All right, thank you. Anybody have any other questions on that? Can I get a motion to accept 3.1 to 3.9 for information?
I can make that motion.
Yep, all in favor? Carried. 4.1, CEO report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So for the month of December, I also attended the meet and greet with Mayor and Councillor Rash and Councillor Musson in Leduc, and got to chat with the other CAOs and remake my acquaintances with some of the City of Leduc folks. It was kind of fun. Very pleased to work with Michaela on the agenda for the inaugural FCSS Advisory Board meeting, and the board was appointed by council. And I also extend my thanks to Sarah County for her support and guidance to Michaela. That's pretty awesome. Spent quite a bit of time, 7 days, working with AMSC Insurance to clean up and verify our new insurance schedules. Mr. Carey and I spent most of an afternoon tracking and tracing our equipment, and we edited our schedules. Some of the issues were we were insured for a cat piece of equipment that we didn't own. Didn't know what it was either. Our fire truck that we used for sewer flushing was not on the list of insured, therefore we were driving all last year with uninsured motor vehicles. Our tools were only valued at about $2,500, and we were not insured for environmental damage. In other words, if we had a raw pond breach or a sewer lift station breach that had to be fixed or but destroyed land, it would have been catastrophic. So that's all taken care of. So I'm still waiting for AMSC to bind it. I'll be honest with you, they're a little slow responding. I'm not real happy with that. When we have some questions, CFO Cindy and I are going to have a little chat with them. We have the Rural Municipalities Association Insurance coming up to see us next week. They're the rural portion of the AMSC. They also have a very big pool, and they're coming out to see us just to see what they have, and they have benefit plans as well.
Yeah, the service from AMSC
Terrible.
is terrible. I sent them an email 2 weeks ago about a staff issue, and I still haven't heard back. Like,
You can phone them, they don't get back to you.
they're awful.
They're very busy being busy. So all our agreements are now with the proper groups. So the Lions Club, Mercedes, the president, asked for a couple little pieces of clarification on their agreement. And I met with Communities in Bloom last Wednesday evening for 3 hours to discuss their service agreement. Very good meeting. And so I'll have that written up before the end of this term. 3920 CAOs met, and we hosted it in Thorsby, but we thank the 3920 board for providing the hosting billing according to their policy. So we thank all the councils for buying us lunch. It was very nice, and that is in policy. We did not just invent this. Our next meeting will be to provide a listing for the 3920 board to consider for their new year projects and strategies, and we're meeting next week in Warburg. We have a really good, I believe we have a really good relationship. We're all we're all a lot of fun, and we're all pretty creative, so that's great. I've been working diligently with CFO Cindy on the 2023 budget, and of course, we've had our first meeting. We'll be ready to go for Sunday morning with Public Works, and then in the afternoon, we'll have everything in place. You'll have all the numbers, you'll have everything you need to, in the afternoon, to start debating. And of course, that budget can be passed on Sunday if you so choose, because it is a special, or you can wait till regular at the end of the month. We're working on mentoring staff teams for their budget presentations and continue to assist as some of this is quite new to them. And I have a bit of a request from council for the last meeting of the year. And this is to council's indulgence, but would it be kind of fun to have a little Christmas cheer at the meeting, maybe throw on a Christmas sweater? I don't mean alcohol.
Then I'm not.
Christmas sweater, and something just for a little bit of fun and cheer for the last meeting. I think we've all been, including council, we're working real hard this year. It might be kind of fun just to have our last meeting in the worst dress that we could be in. It would be kind of fun. And I leave that up to council to guide us on that. And that is my report for the month of November.
Thank you. Any questions? Let's see. Oh, go ahead.
I noticed how she skipped the part about the qualification there that she did.
Yeah, she did skip that one.
Yes.
Yes, I did. Shame on you for learning how to read.
Okay, very good. 4.2, bylaw office report.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. For the month of November, my focus has been on the following tasks. In the month of November, I have been working on the following files. I researched to find the service provider that works with municipalities on utility collection, tax recovery collection, violation tag collection. Just to mention a few, Wiggins Adjustments Ltd. Has offices in the Edmonton, or out of Edmonton, and has provided a summary of their services and collection rates for viewing. This is being forwarded to CEO Donna and CFO Cindy for consideration. Worked with Liz, our development officer, and Jill from Inspections Group to answer some questions around development and permitting issues that I've come across. I received a complaint about littering at the south entrance parking lot at the Art Spas Recreation Complex, and I followed that up with the principal at the Thorsby Junior Senior High School. I have assisted Michaela, or as coordinator, with Christmas elves pickup at the schools, as the boxes are very heavy. I assisted Jesse, our legislative clerk, to pick up items for hosting Christmas in the village. CEO Donna and I have hosted a meeting with our local business Pet Necessities to discuss a service agreement for dogs, etc., and other communications have followed. We are close to completing. We continue to monitor crosswalks at the school in the morning and in the afternoon unless I'm not available to attend. Prepared ads for the Thorsby Target about shoveling snow and removing ice from sidewalks, as well as a reminder about business license renewal for 2023. I'll continue to work with the community to keep sidewalks clear over the winter, as it is for everyone's safety that we look out for each other. And I will be preparing a blanket letter for all vacant lot property owners to make sure that their sidewalks remain clear of snow over the winter. This can conclude the highlights of my report for November. Just want to touch on a few numbers. So in the month of November, under our traffic bylaw, I had given out about 9 notices, mainly about sidewalks and ice. Animal control, mainly around barking dogs. Community standards, there was 1. Land use bylaw had a few inquiries dealing with some permitting issues under the land use bylaw. In total, 10 under the traffic. General bylaw inquiries, 5. Business license are always ongoing. Issued 17 warnings in total, and 2 violation tickets. And then, on 70 properties, 1, observed few properties, complaints received 2, notice or order to remedy, that would be actually sent out or mailed out 2 orders to remedy. Complaints received 10, contractor cleanup was 2, files open 7, files concluded 9. And just for your viewing pleasure, if you like, there is just a little bit of information on the beginning adjustments of TV, on additional services that we provide, and concludes my report.
I have dealt with Wiggins before. I'm not gonna say anything bad to say about them, but I mean, it's like the insurance thing where maybe they're a great insurance company, but I never found them to be overly proactively responsive, at least, just so as a
Customer service.
yeah, just so you're aware, right? I mean, I say I don't feel they do a bad job or anything, but yes, you would have to be very proactive in your dealings with them, so just as a fair warning, so to speak.
Yes, when I did speak to them, they indicated that they do a considerable amount of work for the city of Edmonton, and we do specialize in municipalities. So I thought that was a plus, because our circumstances are quite unique sometimes, and so we'll see where it goes.
Yeah, like I said, I don't think, yeah, again, unless you're one of the big customers, I feel like you know, it's like the insurance thing, where I'm not saying they're doing a bad job, but you probably gotta go to your way to reach out a few times to get an answer, sometimes was my experience, so.
So far, knock on wood, communication has been good. So
Okay.
we'll see where it lands after we make a decision, so.
Yeah, once it's signed on the dotted line.
Then things-
When they got you. Thank you.
Yeah, the salesperson's always a lot quicker to answer their phone than the,
Yeah, the actual customer service.
Thanks, Mr. Rash. Thank you. Public Works, you're not gonna, okay?
No, it's good. Good.
Okay.
I apologize about my report not being in. It has been very, very busy in the Public Works Department. I'm the only full-time staff there at the moment. I have 2 part-time staff and another casual on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, making it very difficult to get a lot of my office stuff done with the weather that we've been having. Along with, as prepared as I try to be with the machinery for wintertime, it likes to throw a curveball at me.
nothing runs good in -30.
It's not even that, it's like such minute little things, like I had a key fall out of the impeller shaft for the sander.
Yeah,
And of course, you're driving down the road, you still see sand coming out the back, you don't think anything of it,
yeah.
and then you realize it's a straight line of sand. So, and even trying to find that key for that, I called probably 30 shops to try and find.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a $10 part, but good luck finding it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, it's starting to get ridiculous with how difficult it is to find these parts. I ended up making one. So, it's the only other option that I had. Snow removal has definitely been a challenge, this year. That first snowfall that we had, as fast as I could try and get that off the road, I don't know where it was coming from, but it was magically back on the road, even though there was no snowfall. It was whatever was coming off vehicles and being tracked down the road and everything like that. I had a contractor come in, with a tandem axle dump truck to try and remove our piles of snow so that they are not in the sight of public. Try and keep town looking a little bit better. As you guys sure have looked around, the piles are bashed in, and there's only more to come. So hopefully.
Like where you dumping there, by the tracks there, we got permission there from Faisal to.
That is not us that is dumping.
That's not us dumping that?
That is not us, that is the school. So I talked to Faisal about it, actually he called me, and it was something that I needed to discuss with CAO Donna. I don't think it's feasible for us, it's not really worth my while, but he's looking at a $1,000 rental per year utilize that property.
Well, then his prices came down significantly than when we stopped using it the first time.
Really? Well, I think it's because you've got multiple users of the property, because it's the school that's doing it.
Yeah, like I say, not all that many years ago, he wanted quite a bit more, which is when we said we will find somewhere else to put the stove in.
Yeah, no, that's, my guy did happen to put some snow down there, and, I got a phone call from him right away, and I'm like, yeah, I'll talk to him right away.
Yeah, I was wondering what was going on. Okay.
Yeah, no, that's not us. I also wouldn't want to use it because of the flooding issue that we're having down there in the first place.
100%. Just to add to that too, businesses have to keep their snow in their lots. Environmental protection won't like that there, and I would not want to see an invite from Alberta Environment, because that's not a snow dump. It's not environmentally sanctioned snow dump there. We gotta be careful with stuff like that, but businesses are supposed to, under the Environmental Protection Act, keep their snow on their property.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Curley, we'll discuss.
That's good.
Walk and talk.
On another note, we had a complaint put into OHS about, misuse of the skid steer. OHS came out, had a fantastic meeting with the two of them. I invited them into the shop, walked them around the shop, explained to them the process of running the skid steer and everything like that, and alleviated any concern that they had about it. Got a report back from them stating that, it was proper use of the machine. They had no concerns. They actually gave me some information in regards to training summer students on machinery. Some more information for myself, so it was great. I actually, they were apologetic that they were ruining my Friday, and I told them, I said, you're not ruining my Friday. I said, I'm glad you guys came out, which I think threw them off a little bit. So, but yes, it was a very good meeting with them. No concerns from their point with anything, so. That's it for me.
All right, anybody have any other questions? Thank you. Recreation Park, Kelly.
Hello, good evening. So for November, our active memberships for the month are up to 60, which I think is an increase from 48. I think we've been averaging about 45 to 48 over the last few months, so nice to see those numbers going up. The Arctic Spas membership program has finally been launched. Just a refresher, so with our sponsorship agreement, Arctic Spas employees can get membership at 50% off, and Arctic Spas is now going to pick up the tab for the other 50%. So members will come in, say that they're an Arctic Spa employee. I have it set up in the system for third-party billing, so it creates an invoice to Arctic Spas. I'll send it at the end of the month. They'll be verified and paid, so it's a great program for their employees. So working directly with the payroll administrator just to make sure that our names are valid and whatnot. And she was the first employee to sign up for the program, so that's good. So they haven't formally announced it to their staff yet. That'll be at the end of this month, so it's just kind of word of mouth right now. So which is good, gives us time to figure out any kinks we have with it, but it seems to be working fine. I had budget meeting with CFO and followed up with the presentation to council on Saturday. The equipment upgrades in the weight rooms have happened. Last week, Apple Fitness came, delivered everything, all the major big pieces, set it up, serviced the equipment that they set up, but they also serviced all of our cardio equipment. Walked us through everything that we had, because between the two, we had too many pieces of equipment. So we removed like non-commercial, like home use gym equipment, replaced it with commercial equipment. Some things were broken that non-repairable. Some of the stuff we brought from the county was not usable, which is fine. But yeah, it's looking really great in there. We did a major cleanup in the room and organized everything, decluttered it, kind of like a mom clean in there. Also, we have 2 entrances into the weight room because we took over the dance studio, so we closed down the secondary entrance, so everything is coming through its first entrance. It looks really great, so please stop by anytime. I'll give you a tour of it, show you the equipment. I did attach some pictures to my report just so you could see some of the pieces. I don't have an actual value, but I would guess we're probably $75,000 worth of equipment. And the comments from Apple Fitness were like, this is brand new, this has hardly been utilized. So it was a really great score to get that, and really thankful to Lee County for that partnership on that and the support. One of the other changes we've made I don't know if I said this before, but we had a whole bunch of spin bikes that used to be in the dance studio for spin classes, and then they were moved into storage. So we've brought all of those spin bikes out that are usable. We have 3 that we've kept in storage for parts. John serviced all of those spin bikes, and we have them set up in the field house because we have quite a few hockey teams that do drive-on training. So it's just another feature they come, they get their cardio in on the spin bikes, and then, do the rest of their training in the gymnasium. So we find that's a really good draw with all of our out-of-town teams. So the teams, they're traveling to our facility for practice, and they can add on an hour drive-on training, so it's really worth it for their teams and brings them back every year. So live barn. So I mentioned that, I believe, in my budget report. So we're just working on getting that installed in our facility. So that's just watching hockey live. You can watch practices, games, anything like that. I actually had the initial meeting today with Live Barn and with Tim from IT, just making sure we have all the right pieces together to get that going. We'll probably, I'm thinking, the end of January before we're installed, because we're doing an IT internet changeover. So there's no point doing this install until we've changed over the internet. All the equipment has to be programmed to that internet. But it's a really great program. There's no cost for us outside of, if we had to do an internet something or other, but we have the capabilities already within the complex. They provide all the cabling, all the service with the install. There's no cost. They make their money off of people subscribing to the software or to the program, and then we get a 30% royalty back for every subscription. So yeah, it's kind of a no-brainer, and then it's just a great another plus to have within our facility. Plus, Warburg has it, so we have to have it. The renovations upstairs are coming along really well. We had drywall repairs completed. There was a lot of damaged drywall and volunteer work that was done many, many years ago. So there was a lot of repairs that needed to be had. So we had a local contractor come in and do those. Painting has started. The ceilings are actually painted this week. The flooring is ordered and is being stored at River Valley. So once we're a week out of ready for install, we'll have it all moved into our facility to climatize, and hopefully over the Christmas break, the plan is with the reduced ice schedule, then our ice guys will do that installation. Ice invoices that they've been sent out for November usage have already started receiving payments. We hired one facility attendant to replace one that had left. Worked with the school, and we're doing a work experience student, and she's also going to assist with programming and whatnot, so seems like she'll be a really good fit. She's just learning things right now. Follow up on the Richard Hoffman and Ted Builder, the presentation that they did at the gala. They also had banners done up, displaying everything, so those are actually on display in the complex now, and we'll leave those up for quite a while, and then we'll move them to we have like large pictures, like permanent pictures of the history and significant people within our community. So we'll move them, get something done up to add to that display. And I just want to make a comment about that software. That's my first time seeing the software presentation. I'm not familiar with it at all, but I could see the value of that software in their recreation building. So I was like asking Andrew, can this apply to our building? Just that looks amazing and so easy to use. And we have so many assets within that building, mechanical wise and even equipment. So to be able to put that on one software and track the work orders, track the different things, I really hope it gets considered and we can tie some of that into the rec budget,
Is that what was replaced? Muni site.
Group
And Muni
Muni
site, we pay,
And
I wanna say almost 20 grand a year for that software.
Oh, really?
And the other measure is
active tracker.
active tracker to replace. What do we pay for active tracker?
I don't even know, I've never seen it in.
I think it might be part of it, but the other thing too is that with Unisite, if we, like last year, I talked to them and said, hey, you know, I wanna put our vehicles on there so I can start building a maintenance program online. Well, I think last year that cost us like $4,500.
Oh, I just
something like that.
see invoices from them and I wanna
Just-
throw up in my mouth.
Just for them to throw stick figure pictures of vehicles on there, and I had to enter all the information. So, yeah, no, that's gonna amalgamate everything, like, all of town will be into one, so like, if for any reason at all, Kelly's gone away on vacation, and somebody asks me a question about it, I can pull that information up, or Donna can, you know.
Yeah, even like pinpointing the equipment, like we have 3 different boilers in the facility, right? So if somebody's coming in to service something, they know where boiler number 3 exactly, like there's no, I've been looking for something like trying to come up with a system to track all of our work that we do, like on the ice plant and the cycles and life cycles of things, and this just seemed like, wow, that's really exciting. So that's my little plug for just being.
And the co-op part of it, I thought that was interesting too, right? The co-op.
Oh, one other thing, I am gonna be advertising all of the changes in the weight room in the local papers, like to Breton and to Warburg, right, because we're
Closer
we
than
are the
Leduc.
largest gym
Yeah.
between Drayton Valley and Leduc. There is nothing that's even comparable to what our gym is right now. So try to draw in some more and let them know of the changes and stuff. So that'll be starting this week, next week, for those papers.
Kelly, question. So the rubber matting that's supposed to go onto the hardwood, that's in next year's budget?
We're trying to see if we can, yeah, I'm trying to get, well.
Because I just
we
saw all
can-
that weight stuff on the hardwood floors.
Yes, if we can get it in this year's, budget, I think that would be great. I got a quote through Apple Fitness. It's a company out of Edmonton called Edgewood Flooring, and it was installed, it was around the $6,000 mark, like super reasonable. And then, yeah.
Isn't that
would be a
specifically
commercial
just
rate.
for the dance? Well, dance.
Just the dance studio side, because the other side is already rubberized
Yes,
floor.
yeah, yeah.
So, yeah, so just the dance studio side would be. If not, you'll see it on Monday, possibly still in my capital.
We tried to take the stuff from Nisky too, but
Yeah, I
Oh, they
tried.
had it at, they had it
They
at
have all
the
that flooring in Nisku, and I tried to, I asked for it. I was like, we'll pull it
gym.
out.
What are they gonna
ourselves
do with
because
it?
Right now, nothing. So it may be, in a year, it might become available, but they don't want to pull it out right now because there's nothing underneath of it, and they don't have funds to replace it.
Oh, there's no
So,
floor.
yeah, I tried to get the mirrors from them. I tried
Oh,
to
the
get
mirrors,
flooring.
yeah.
I got furniture from them, which we've added to our lobby, like anything I could get. It was all just one. I'll take anything, so.
I could have gotten those mirrors up.
I think they could have got those
I'm pretty
mirrors
sure we
off.
could have, but
Sorry, who did you hire there?
What's that?
You hired a new, facility,
Who's the student?
Oh, Sophia Hamazabel. She's a grade 11 student at Complex. Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, Andrew.
she had mentioned about new furniture in the lobby. If you get an opportunity to go by the rec center, it's a great place for a nap, those chairs.
They are. They even recline. We had no idea they did that. We have hockey moms fighting over them.
So this is all from the county, all this furniture and equipment?
It is, but the county also wants to kind of be a quiet partner on this.
Okay.
Just because, the Nisku Rec Center is a very sensitive topic for a lot of county members, so they don't want that advertised. So, in my ad that will go in the Target, it'll be something like, in partnership with Leduc County, we're able to make these enhancements to our facility. It's not.
What else? What are you gonna say just because?
You know, NRC, you know, I'm not gonna say that, so, but, yeah.
Typically, it's all still in the county.
It's that, and that was really important to them. They
Yeah.
wanted it to stay within the county. So, you know, it was great that we had the space for it, and
We have a thank you gift that's in my office for the county that Kelly will give to Dean tomorrow, so that's in there. Okay. It'll be just quietly provided. We've got a nice card from council and administration.
Thank you. No questions for anybody else? No? Good. 4.5, 4.6, Donna, just to accept them, or?
Yeah, the FCSS report, we've done quite a bit on the Christmas sales tonight and the different recreation programs, and so we'll look at that as information. And Mr. Mayor, the same as the administrative report, that just keeps you up to date, council up to date with what our corporate services and billing and financial clerk is doing and all the things that they do in a month. That's just still for your information. And the last report, Your Worship, is our legislative report.
Thank you. Thank you. Go ahead.
For the month of November, I continue to answer phone calls, emails, and in-person inquiries from residents, which has slowed down with the cold weather. Nobody wants to come in person, reasonable. I've continued my server organizing work, so I would say I'm maybe 25% of the way through. It's also a lot of just logistics in terms of what we need per every individual server file. I've assisted with 2 new development permits with our development officer, Liz Armitage. I've organized all council meetings for the month of November with the help of CA O'Donna, because I did have a week off last week. I created all minutes approved this month. I began policy revision work with CA O'Donna, including marrying duplicate policies and reviewing outdated policies, with more to come. We imagine it will be ongoing until it is done. I attended a meeting on November 21st with CA O'Donna, Mayor Hobson, Dave Mann to take notes for Water for Life. I created,
Thank you.
Screw what you're reading.
I know, it's too much.
I created target advertisements every week, not all of them, but some of them. I arranged the silent auction donation for the Chamber Gala on behalf of the town. Barry and I went together and picked it up. We liked it. It was like a little, one of them was a little light up wreath. It was kind of metal tin. And then the other was a really cute little light up tree. And those sold really well at the gala. People were liking them. I updated templates for policy, bylaws, et cetera, in preparation for 2023. So everything should just quickly streamline over. Don't have to worry about the templates. And I assisted CA O'Donnell with any matters that she has needed in the month.
Laura. Thank you. Any questions for Jesse? Not, can I get a motion to accept 4.1, 4.7, sealed reports for information?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. All in favor? Carried.
You aren't here.
CFO reports, CFO Cindy.
Okay, so yes, I apologize for not having a written one. So I have a little list here, although I was gone for half the month. I finished up with the audit. I'm still working with the auditors for the rec schedule, and then we'll work with Dean regarding the cost share for 2021. Working on budget prep, meeting with staff, answering questions, updating variances. My focus now is getting 2022 all entered properly into GP. Also getting 2020 and 2021 balanced to the period the previous year ends and closed off in GP, as that was never done. I attended the Chamber Gala. I met with Communities in Bloom, with CA O'Donna. I prepared a new job description for the Uni Clerk full-time position. Lisa has indicated that she cannot accept a full-time position at this time, so we will begin searching for a new clerk. We'll post it internally first as per the union contract, and then we'll go outside if nobody, and I can't foresee anybody internally applying, but well, Kelly wants to talk. So yeah, that's been my month on top of all the other regular things I do.
I don't know, I wouldn't joke fire you, Andrew. You said you're the one out in the cold doing all the heavy lifting. This is at least an indoor job.
Yeah, that's why I put my hand up.
All right, okay, any questions, other questions for Cindy? Not, can I get a motion to accept that for information, the CFO report? Kelly,
I can make that motion.
thank you, all in favor? And then gallery, any questions from the gallery? Would you like to introduce yourself? Thank you for meeting to, maybe, I know who you are, but, maybe introduce yourself to the rest of the council, everybody here?
Sure, thank you. I'm Natasha Morsi, I'm CAO of Breton. I kind of feel like we're the little stepchild of Leduc County, because we're in Breton, not in Leduc any longer. But yeah, we were also talking with Mike, that's being public works software, and, place for commercial. Our council hasn't seen it yet, they've kind of heard my raves about it, and they're kind of excited, so. And we're sort of ground zero for asset management or anything like that right now. We just had our longtime public works fellow leave like 2 weeks ago now, and I think I'm talking with you, actually, Andrew, staff for you up for some help to kind of navigate me through some of the stuff. So yeah, and on a side note, with your rubber mat, Cal Tire has amazing grants for any kind of recycled rubber material. It can be roofing, flooring, matting, you name it. Their playgrounds, they're fabulous, so just as a girl note. Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of me in a nutshell.
How did you had your Christmas thing? That was.
We did, we had our parade and the kickoff of Christmas. The parade went phenomenal. A lot of naysayers in town finding they were only gonna have 4 floats and blah, blah, blah. We actually ended up with 22 entries.
Oh, wow.
It was pretty impressive. Mullen Oilfield came out big time for us at Leduc. They sent out a lowboy, they sent out a wheeler, they sent out a commander, and a bed truck. So it was pretty fantastic, yeah. And just, you can see people getting excited to see how simple a parade of lights can be, which is really nice. I mean, at night, your float doesn't have to look special, just have to look bright. So, like, it's so easy, right? We had side-by-sides in there, we had a tow truck. We had 2 kids on lawn tractors pulling a wagon that they put like cardboard sides to make it look like a sleigh. It was cute. It was really, really cute. So it turned out really well. Kickoff to Christmas was phenomenal. It was very, very busy, well received, lots of kids, lots of excitement. We recently had Big T golf closed the weekend of, so all that business is now funneled into town, which is fabulous. It's too bad that we're losing that restaurant over the season. However, it's bringing everybody into the main street again, which is really great. So now we just need to get the business on the main street and get rid of some of those old crappy buildings on the main street.
I know how to kick them in, let me know.
Actually, I have to talk to you about that next week. I don't know what I need to do.
Yes, ma'am, we can help.
Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of it. Any questions from anybody regarding Breton? Do you guys use GP? No, okay, not in a million years. No. We use them anywhere.
Oh, yeah.
It's right in town.
Are you guys looking to switch?
No, I just had a question, but if you don't use it.
I used to use Green Plains.
Oh, then maybe you can help me.
Yeah.
After I'll talk to you.
Feel free to give me an email or what have you. Yeah, it's an interesting program.
Yep, it is.
And they're on the same lines as AMSC with customer service. It's not even.
Yeah, 100%.
So yeah.
Well, thank you very much for being here and the update on Benton.
Well, thank you. It gives me some things to take back to our council that I think could be quite useful that they don't currently do, that, more from an administration aspect. So that could be very helpful for us. So with that, I'm gonna make my exit.
Please. Thanks for coming.
Possibly moving over.
I don't know if there's any more information for everybody else. Nope. So motion to adjourn.
You can make a motion to adjourn.
Aye, all in favor? Carried.
Wi-Fi multiple.
Oh, so we're doing this on Sunday?
Sunday.
Okay.
We actually talked to him, when I talked to him,
Much.
It's the 21st.
Pardon me?
It's the 21st.
Started at 20.
November 21st. Well, either you guys both conspicuously avoided mentioning in the meeting on the 21st, then Jesse said that she had to take minutes for you and Dave and Donovan,